Good morning, everybody. Welcome along to this month's free paint along session of 2 Highland cows in the frost in acrylics. I hope you'll enjoy yourself this morning in the next hour and a half, and I hope we'll have a bit of fun and a bit of learning in the same way. It's lovely to have your company. Do say hello if you can comment. If you can, let me know where you're from. Where in the world are you joining us from today? Because we often get people from all over the place, so it'd be lovely to know where you're from today. I think you can only comment if you have an account. I have got a bit of a new toy. Let me just put some birdsong on in the background, because we know that's the way to help us relax and ease ourselves into a Saturday morning. I've got a new toy. Hang on, let me, if I click this button. Hello, you can actually see me. So instead of seeing a blank screen at times, if I want to talk to you directly, then I can this way. So I hope you've found the new setup better, easier to follow. Hello, Phil. Nice to see you. With everything being on our free learning zone, it's made it much easier for us to concentrate where the images go. You can find it easier, the video link for this lesson, the reference image and the outline that you can see for a day or two before the live, to give you a chance to sketch out if you need to. We're keeping a simple palette this morning, just 3 primary colours of cadmium red, cadmium yellow, cerulean blue, a bit of burnt sienna, some black and some white acrylics, and a selection of brushes. So it's lovely to see you, and you can see me only briefly, and then I'll plop the camera back around to how it normally is. But I just thought it'd be nice to actually talk to you live. Now, don't forget, I am on my own in the shop, so if I have a customer, I will have to go down and serve, although they should be all joining in live this morning, shouldn't they? So it's lovely to see you, it's lovely to have your company, and I'll give you about 10 minutes to sketch out anything that you may want to draw. Oh yes, happy St George's Day. Thank you, Rosemary. I thought I'd do a little bit of a song to start the morning off over on my Bo Norton Sings page. So thank you for that. I'll forgive you for being a little bit late since you were listening to me singing. Flattery will get you everywhere. But I'll give you a little bit of time to sketch out and get ready. I've done it very simply. Now we're going to do something in a slightly different way when we paint today. Hiya Trish, sunny and windy. It's a bit like that here this morning. When I was walking in to work, it's very nippy. My hands were quite cold, but it was really quite fresh. Oh, I mean, come on, look at my coos, my Highland coos. They're hardly a work of art in themselves yet, Phil, so you'll be all right. It'd be nice if it got you in the ability to paint in acrylics without getting... But Rosemary, how do you decorate yourself in acrylics? Because when you're drawing, you're like the queen of clean. I've yet to see you even get a dirty digit, let alone anything else. How do you get dirty with acrylics? You'll have to come back into real life classes soon when you can, or do the odd one, and I'll monitor how you're getting so filthy with your paint. It's nice to see you, Phil. Well, have you with us? Can't see you, obviously, but hopefully the new layout of us being able to get it on our moving away from Facebook will enable lots more people to join in live from all over the place, but having everything on our learning zone, I mean, it makes sense to put it on our website, and now we can with the links and everything that we've got. So I hope you found the colour list useful, the reference image useful, and the outline, just to give you an idea of what what I plan to do. But there is good. I'm glad it's nice to be back. We did an acrylic class on Tuesday, which it wasn't frosty. I don't know what appealed me to do a frosty scene in at the end of April, but you know, there were rumours we were going to get snow showers this week. But it had a misty background, and I know people struggle with misty backgrounds. So we normally do the sky, do a background, then add the mist. We're going to do it in a different way today, a bit like we did in the Tuesday acrylic group. So don't forget, all of our classes are online, but they're also face-to-face. So that'd be really, really nice if some of you wanted to join us in person. We do a weekly Tuesday afternoon acrylic class, a weekly Wednesday afternoon drawing class, a weekly Thursday morning pastel class, a weekly Thursday afternoon watercolour class, a weekly Friday afternoon watercolour class. Currently we've got a Wednesday morning gouache class, but that will finish at the end of June. We also do monthly demos. About every couple of months we do a free paint along class like this. Monthly Sunday watercolour classes, monthly Saturday calligraphy classes, the odd full 3/4 day beginners session. Next one I think is pencil portraits, and art history monthly on a Friday morning. So there's lots and lots to do. We'll soon be getting the July to December class lists out, which will be quite nice. Yeah, 28th of May is our 3/4 day pencil portraits for beginners class. Trouble is, they're all with me. You've got to suffer me all the time. That's not too bad though, is it? Oh, I haven't got my sound on. I put birdsong on. I forgot to put the speakers on. Oh, there we go. I can hear a bird now. Oh, I'm glad. It's nice to have you with us. It might be a nice one to break yourself into gently. I say gently. I'm not going to be that gentle. You know I'm not gentle. It's lovely to have so many of you with me this morning. I know it's a change from Facebook. We've been phasing Facebook out. There are two reasons why we were doing that, and it's not to diss other social media platforms. Basically, Facebook has changed its integration on live streams, and it's not set up for my laptop. I think it's meant for Chrome and Windows 11 and all of that, and I'm not on any of that, so I can't actually access the live streams on Facebook. So that's why I had to change. But also it has proved better because the image is more stable. It very rarely crashes, so you don't get the circle of doom swirling across your paper. But also it means that we have been able to broaden out our lessons to those who aren't on Facebook, because not everybody is, you know. So it's been really nice. So happy St George's Day to you all. When it was St David's Day I could talk in Welsh to you, but obviously I'm already talking in English, so I don't need to do much for St George's Day. A couple more minutes to draw. There's not a lot to draw though, is there really, to be fair? And we'll try and get this done before 12:30. We want it to look like a work of art. Well, it will be a work of art. Whether it'll be exactly like that one, I don't know. And for those of you that are new maybe and you're joining us for the first time, we don't charge for these free paint-along classes or our free monthly 45-minute demos. However, if you do want to donate, which even if it's £1, £2, you can do so by following the paypal.me/thearteryartshop, and you can donate through PayPal if you like. And the donations do just keep us going in the, because while I'm doing this for you, it does mean I can't be doing any paid work either. So if you would like to donate, that's fine. If you don't, then that is all right as well. There is no pressure. I know times are hard. Boy, I know times are hard. So don't stress. It's all right. Everything's okay. So a minute or two more. Oh, I've got a customer. I'll be back in 1 second. Let me just pop that there. Back in a sec. I have returned. Did you miss me? Of course you didn't. But thanks for pretending. Right, so we've got white and black, cerulean blue, cadmium yellow, cadmium red, and burnt sienna. I'll explain the colours a little bit as well. I think that's going to be really important to look at today. Because it just makes sense why I've chosen one over the other, you know. So cerulean blue is green based, a green based blue. Cadmium red and cadmium yellow are both orange based, and burnt sienna is a dark orange based red. But why I've chosen those is because it's a wintry scene on a really hot April morning. But cerulean blue and cadmium red, they're very vibrant, aren't they? We've got a bright red and a bright blue. However, because cadmium red is orange based and cerulean blue is green based, there's very little purple in them. So when you mix those two together, you get a really dull purpley grey colour, which is perfect for icy, frosty temperature painting. So it can be a little bit confusing, because you see a bright red and a bright blue and you think, oh, they're going to make a bright purple. No, they make a very dull purple. And in fact, I think we did a black cat once in watercolour using cerulean blue and cadmium red. So the Highland cows, the Highland coos are very ginger. So we want nice bright orange tones. So because we've got an orange red and an orange yellow, when combined, they make a brighter orange. And because burnt sienna is a dark orange red, my hair is getting towards that colour now as I've got older. It used to be a mixture of the two cadmiums, but it will add some nice darker tones. And the black is there just to help us if we need any more control and more depth. So hopefully that's made a little bit more sense. About 30 of you. That's lovely. Welcome along. So we want a misty background. However, I'm using the Pebeo Pop Art canvas paper today. It's let's see if I can find the pad. Day 4. And it is actual canvas, it's primed canvas. Not everybody gets on with it. I love it. But that's what I'm using. So I want to do the land first, and then we can do the sky and put the mist from the sky colour over the background to help it go a bit misty. So I'm going to go with a smelly fall. A fairly small, oh dear. Oh, for goodness sake. A fairly small brush. Like a half-inch flat. Oh dear me. Just going to moisten it a little bit. And then we want some of the orangey pink tones, which I'm going to mix cadmium red, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, and a little bit of white. Not mixing it thoroughly. Just plopping it on. It doesn't have to be as light as we're making it in, because we're going to add mist. The mists are going to come down, but there is a bit of snow on there. So this is a mixture of cad yellow, cad red, burnt sienna and white, but a loose mix, if that makes sense. Trying to go round my cows a little bit. So trouble with backgrounds, you need them in, and foregrounds. There's trouble with landscapes, it's got backgrounds and foregrounds in, but it's really useful to have them because they do nicely set the scene. There we go. Let's give that a bit of a clean. Let's switch to a smaller brush. A little filbert or something. A little small flat brush. This is a bit of an angle shader, but it doesn't really make any difference. And then I want cadmium red and cerulean. We have only got an hour and a half, so you know we can't spend forever and a day doing everything. Now if I add some purple from the cadmium red and the cerulean into some of that orange colour that we've made, and then add a bit of white, a bit more white. Notice I've got a bigger dollop of white on my palette than I have any other colour, and then we're going to come down. It's lovely beautiful pastel shades in this picture. It will be when we've finished as well, I promise, but pick up the purpley colours, and this is the shadow that is on our Perthshire mountains. I might add a little bit more white because it is a bit snowy. Trying to follow the contours a little bit. And by doing that, it means that we'll be able to just create that feeling of a mountain. But we've got trees and all sorts to stick on here. I've lost the horn of my one cow, but that's all right. I'm not going to cry about it, you know. I can make this slightly loose and free. Are you feeling loose and free this morning on this St. George's Day, this lovely sunny St. George's Day? bit more white as we get to the top. So we want to make this a little bit misty. So we don't want too much detail anyway. And I'm going to use the same brush to make a nice dirty dull green and stipple some trees on. So it's not going to look amazing yet, and that's okay, we don't want it to. If I go with a bit of black, a bit of cad yellow and a pinhead of cerulean. Now depending on the make of your paint, cerulean is really punchy, and it's always best to add incrementally, whereas your yellow will be more transparent because most acrylic yellows are. And then, so that's black, bit of black. St George's in Telford. Ah, hi Sandra. And it's not sunny where you are. Oh, it's beautiful here. Not to rub it in, but it is quite nice here in Oxfordshire. So a little bit of black, a lot of cadmium yellow because it's the most transparent, a teeny bit of blue and a teeny bit of white, and with that we can blob in a few lines of trees. We're going to add some mist shortly, so I am basically just blobbing, blobby dabby and a dabby blob. I'm very technical with my terminology, you know. It's a pleasure, Sandra. Am I on the sunny side of the street? Grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worries on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. That's me. I'm on the sunny side of the street. Makes a change, doesn't it? But it is quite chilly today and the wind's up in places. Whereabouts is St George's in Telford? Because a lot of my my brother lives in Telford, and my ancestors are all from Salop and Much Wenlock and all round there in Shropshire, going way, way back. Further back, they're all from Wales, about 500 years ago. So I'm a nice mixed breed. Yeah, we are about a mile. It is about a mile, isn't it? Maybe a little bit more. I'm trying not to make this too stripy, because otherwise it'll look like a piece of bacon running down the page. Mouldy bacon. Right, let's clean our brush. Oh, near Oaken Gates. Because you've got the EP near you, haven't you? That really long, windy road. I used to go to ice skating in Telford when I was in my late teens, early 20s. Nearly every Friday night I was down with my mates ice skating in Telford. I say ice skating, mainly falling and clutching at the sides, but I still turned up. I was the driver, so I had to. We'll be adding mists, so don't fret about this. But I hope you're having, even if the weather's not great, I hope that this session will cheer you up and warm your cockles, even though it's a frosty scene. Hello, Anne. I'm acknowledging you. Don't worry. Borada. Shidahi. What's the weather like where you are? Oh, I had some right problems ice skating, Sandra. I remember I was dating a girl from Shrewsbury, and I tried to impress. I couldn't impress. But I did end up doing a jump in the middle of ice skating, and I don't know how I managed to do that. Somebody had fallen over in front of me, and I was hurtling towards them, so I just jumped, and I landed on my skates. I felt like a figure skater. I could have joined Torvill and Dean at that point for those seconds. There are plenty of other times I fell over, though, I tell you. This would make a nice painting in any medium, in watercolour, oils or gouache. The way you paint would be slightly differently, but it wouldn't make a huge amount of difference, I don't think. Right, while that's drying, we'll fiddle with the sky later. I'm going to use my small brush, and you know this nice sage green we've made from black, yellow, and a little bit of blue. I'm sure it wasn't impressive to anybody watching. I felt like a superstar. I am a superstar. Let's go with, so we've got our black, a lot of yellow, a little bit of blue, and we're going to go with white because this is going to be the basis for our grass. It's a Perthshire scene, so it's grass, isn't it? I'm adding more white, and I'm putting it on. Now, I know you might think, why on earth? It's a heavy frost and it's possibly snow. Why? Just why? Why is he doing this? I don't know. I do, really. Right, it's lovely that we've got such a nice wide community from all over. Not only over the UK, but we do have people joining in from other countries. Sometimes Hawaii, sometimes Australia, sometimes Canada. Oh, I love it. I really do. I'm adding a bit more white to this just to help it go a bit further. So basically all I'm doing is just splattering it on. Going round my cows. How are we doing for time? Half an hour in. Does it feel longer? Does it feel shorter? So I'm going to come down level with my cow's feet. Well, we've always done free demos. So for 6 years we've done monthly free demos live online. We've been doing monthly free demos for 12 years, but we did them hybrid online and in real life every month. We've been doing that for the past 6 years, and then during COVID we decided to do a few free online tutorials which were really popular. I think the first few had thousands of views each from all over the world. So we've kept it going. We do about 6 a year, maybe less than that. Between 4 and 6 free ones a year. And I'd like to think it's because I'm really lovely and benevolent, but it's also to promote our classes, so you can see the sort of teaching style I have. And I've got some of my real students with me online today, and they can vouch to the fact that just because I'm online, I am not, and I do not change my teaching style. What you see is what you get, and basically what you do see is what you get, because this screen is also projected on a projector in the classroom. What else would it project it on? Where our students can see the same screen in store and online. So that's nice, isn't it? Right, let's let that dry for a sec. Just got my foot caught in a wire. Why is that? I have a nice, the only difference is the tea and biscuits, or lack thereof. You have to do your own, don't you? Although I'm on, I'm nearly finished. What a lovely mug. Barry Whitehouse. I'm on lemon and nettle tea this morning. Try and wake me up a bit. So we'll just cover that in a little. And to be honest, we might as well just... I like blocking in. It makes me feel like I'm working harder than I am. If I add a little bit more black to this colour... I should be using a bigger brush as well. However, if I use a bigger brush, I'll be done in 20 seconds. So me using a smaller brush at least means that you don't feel too far behind, because I am like a whippet once I start painting. In a previous life I was trained to work in 45 minutes, so I haven't kind of forgotten how to do that. Oh, there's a bit too much blue in there, but that's okay. So this is the same colour but with a bit more black in it. And that's going to help us do foregrounds. So this is all our underpainting. With the canvas paper, the only difference is you do have to work a little bit harder to push that paint in your crevices. Right, I have got a customer, so I will have to nip down. Let me just try and quickly get some of this in. And it's best to always make extra paint, don't just dilute. Right, back in a second. Let me put my little sign up. There we go, back in a minute. I'm back. Hello. Hello, everyone. Have you all done that now? Have you all finished? Hope you've not run on ahead. Be very naughty, wouldn't it? Very naughty of you. Now, do you want to put those actual trees in, or should we think about that later? Let's think about it, shall we? Let's have a little think. It's nice that we're quite busy on the shop today. Makes a change. Right, let me get that little flat brush out again. It's looking a bit worse for wear now. Poor little brush. So now we're going to create our mist and our snow and everything else. Blue. I will say the names. Cerulean blue, cadmium red. In my palette today, I've only got those two. Right, can you see how purple that goes? I put too much red in, you see. Substantial amount of white. And then we're going to have a nice misty sky. I'm just going to shove it on. A big brush would be great. Let's really dollop the whites on. Keep it on and swirl it about a bit. I don't want it to look too cheerful, but I don't want it to look too lonely and desolate, because we've got two friendly little cows here. But I think I should have had more white initially. But I got too carried away and too excited. So let's add a bit more white while I've got the brush, and I'm giving it a good old twist. It is more of a green grey on the screen. However, I don't want us to try that today in the time that we've got. Because, well, if it goes green, then we're really scuppered. You know? So I'm going down to the top of the mountain. Now, if you wanted it to feel... Maybe I'll put a little bit of black right at the top. Cool it down a bit, or further, not a bit, because we are using a cool blue already. So let's just give our brush a roll between finger and thumb and dance it across the page with reckless abandon, and then we can create some really interesting cloud shapes with that. Remember, with skies, the faster you go, the better it looks. The longer you take, the less random it goes, and the more disappointed you get. Let's shove a big white cloud in. Just took a dollop of white there. Smurgy smurge. This is quite impasto. Thick, but not to be used as an insult. Don't go around calling people impasto, it's not very friendly. Right. I'm just going to clean my brush a tad, because I want to bring that colour now over the mountain with a bit more water with it to make it transparent. You can see I'm really bringing that in. If suddenly you put it on and you go, oh no, I've lost my mountain, that's alright. Quickly go in, clean your brush, or get another brush and just add more water to it. Look at that. We've got a misty background. is mountains, or there were mountains, and now they're just the low, snowy skies of Perthshire have rolled in. Oh, beautiful. How's it looking? I'm aware that some of you, depending on the device, you can't always comment straight away, if at all, because of the way the screen may be set up on your device. But that's okay. I'm just happy knowing you're here. Sandra, you're saying all the right things. You can come again. Everybody else, take note. This is what I like to be treated like. Right, let's let that dry for a minute. It's clever, isn't it? We also, by blocking all of this in and everything, it's meant that that bit is dry. If it isn't dry, you end up with nice pink and green bits going everywhere, which isn't always ideal. But you could use more of this to create, if you wanted to make more of a snow feel. I have lost a little of my coos horns, but that's okay. Everything's okay. It's only a bit of paint, isn't it? We've had a lovely morning regardless. Right, that's all right. More practice needed. Yeah, it is tricky once you start glazing, because that's called a glaze, where we're working with transparent paint over the top of other colours, so the other colours show through a little bit. That's called a glaze. Not glazing over, which is what some of my students seem to do. But it does take a lot of practice. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, you're all lovely. So I'm going to go with a bit more white with this little thin brush. And I'm just going to skim, because I've only got 30, 45 minutes left. So I'm going to skim across the grass. So the textured paper, even if you're using watercolour paper, this effect will work, but you'd have to do it in reverse. You'd have to put the green on as a dry brush over the top of the white paper, because this is a frosty scene. It's not overly snowy, so we want to see some of the grass colour coming through. And I'm doing about halfway down the cows. You know, when I listen back to some of the things I end up having to say in these lessons, it's very weird. So our brush strokes will give us the direction and the gradient. Might use a fan brush later. Calm yourselves. Patricia, hello! Finally found out how to say hello. I know it's a bit different, isn't it? I do kind of apologise for, you know, switching to YouTube. And had we been able to work this out ourselves during the lockdown, we'd have gone straight to YouTube. But we didn't know anything at the time. It's been a learning process for 2 years with us. But we're very glad to have you, and it's nice that you've learned how to comment, so that means we can talk to you too. Let's bring that down a little bit more. Kind of like that. We'll let that dry for a minute. I suppose it's handy when I go and serve, isn't it? Because it means I'm not rushing ahead, and it gives you a chance to catch up a little bit. It's going to look weird for now, so don't fret. And this will stay, this video will stay on our website forevermore, and on our YouTube channel, so you can refer to this as many times as you want, or share it with your friends and maybe invite them round and have a bit of a paint party. But put some newspaper down, eh? We can't have your tufted Wilton covered in acrylic paints, can we? So basically we want everything to feel soft, muted and distant and chilly, because the coos and the foreground is what's going to pop out. My blue is less blue. This is more grey. My camera's decided to make blue its thing today. It does it occasionally. But I will take a photograph of this and post it on the social media pages, so you can see what it looks like when it's done. Now, I did say, what should we do about the trees? And I think we need them. I do. To a degree. We'll shove some fir trees in. I think that's going to be good, isn't it? Pantomime horse. Phil, that's just reminded me of we did, oh gosh, many years ago, I did a watercolour class of a cow. It was a normal dairy cow, a Jersey cow, I think, in a field, and one of my students was having a right old trouble getting it to look right, and she said that theirs looked like a pantomime horse, and so she added very long eyelashes and a zip. it was amazing. I love all my creative students. It's absolutely wonderful, because obviously I'm here to teach technique, not style. The style comes from you. So if you want to paint with pinks and purples instead of browns and greys, I don't mind. It's got to come from you, and you've got to enjoy yourself. I've never wanted to just make clones of me, because then I'd be out of work, wouldn't I? So I just want you to be creative, learn things and enjoy the whole process, which is really important. So that's got to dry. I will be back in a minute. I have a customer. Where do I stick my sign now? Ooh. Let me stick it there, because I haven't done any paint there. Back in a minute. back again. Think of the step count and think how slender my waist will be. Right. Oh, let's get a little thin wobbly brush, a rigger or a liner or something like that. I'm going to go into my greeny sludge, you know the sludge colour that we used? Still a little bit of that left over, so if I go with a little bit more yellow and some more white, this is going to be really runny like ink. So the thinnest brush we have will be good. Right, I'm out of breath now. I ran a bit too forcefully back up to see you all. So I'm rolling my brush around in the paint, and we'll stick some fir trees in this background bit. So we'll do a line down and then a wiggle getting wider towards the bottom, and we'll do a few of those. Line and a wiggle. It's not exactly like in the picture, but it doesn't matter, does it? Who's going to tell us off? You have to do odd numbers when you're doing anything. Vary the height. So line and a wiggle, line and a wiggle. I might stick some over the other side as well. Maybe a bigger one over here, because there is a cottage and stuff, but I don't want to draw that. So straight line down or a wonky line down and a wiggle getting wider. Let's do a little one. Maybe that one's leaning a little bit because a cow scratched its bum up it and it pushed it over. I don't know. How's this looking? I want this background done in the next couple of minutes because we do then have half an hour to focus on our cows and our foreground grass. The foreground grass we haven't got to worry about. If you've got a fan brush, done in 30 seconds. Are you enjoying yourself so far? Are you finding it mindful, restful, pleasant, escapist, and all the feels? I hope you are. I'm enjoying myself too this morning. It's good, isn't it, how that sky that we've made has now descended over the mountain like some Stephen King book. And you can keep adding to that. So if you think, oh, I want to add more mist, just shove a bit more of your sky colour on it. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe give it a bit of a tap with your finger or something, just so it feels a little bit mistier. I'm going to keep with this little brush actually, and I'm just going to stab it in my white. Splay the bristles a little. Here's me asking you a question, and then you all have to work out how to type and everything. I apologise. I'm just trying to get you involved. That's all. Trying to share my morning with you. Black over Bill's mothers. Blimey. Sun's gone in here and all, actually. Oh, I hope it ain't gonna rain it down. And you ain't got your washing out. Otherwise it'll get riffy again, won't it? Right. Let's add... It is Black Country Day on the 14th of July, and I will be celebrating it as I do every year. Very proud of my Black Country heritage. Of course, I've lost the accent. Nobody would know that I'm from the Black Country, really, would you? Raised at the foothills of Dudley Zoo by 3 chimps and a flamingo. That's me. Right. Bit stabby between the cow's legs. Oh, gorgeous. How are yours looking? So we really need the cows to view or moo. That's what they do. Oh my! Sorry, I'm to have a bit of a wiggle. Me jumping in and out of my seat every few minutes. All my cushions are displaced. Right, let's shove some dark on the cows. Now I'm going to use a small brush for this because I do want a little bit of detail. Well, no, not really. Terrible so far, Pat. Oh, I'm sure it isn't. The cows will really make it amazing. Not necessarily for this next bit because we're just going to use neat burnt sienna. And I'm going to paint lots of dark bits in burnt sienna. And leave little white lines so I know where to stick it. And none of you lot tell me where to stick it. I suppose it depends how good this lesson is. Mine's going to look a bit like a teddy bear with a centre part in. Looks nothing like a cow. Do you know what? Let me zoom in now on my cow. And you can see just how awful this is going to look. I paint badly so you all feel better about your work. I've lost a lot of my drawing on this one, so goodness knows what's going to happen. It's always fun to watch me paint live. Because anything, literally, anything could happen. Thank you, Rosemary. It's nice, isn't it? The Cadmium Red and Cerulean is a really lovely wintry mix. It's so nice to work. And that will work in any medium that you've got. In watercolour, gouache. It's just remembering it's counterintuitive because the bright red and the bright blue do not make a bright purple. slightly dilute this, but not overly. There's his little mouth. Hello, I'm a cow. Although he's Scottish, isn't he? So he's hello, I'm a cow. Let's do some slightly longer lines off this. Because he's a bit fluffy. He's a fluffy cow, isn't he? He's got a bit of fluffy. Oh gosh, come in like yourself. It's the front door of the cafe, that is. I added a spring, you see, because people forget to shut the door. And the spring is wonderful because it shuts the door, but people forget and it snatches the door out of their hand and slams. Well, we've got some brown lines and stuff, haven't we? I'm colouring in cows. A bit of brown. What is a positive and also a negative with acrylics is that a lot of this is now dry. Do you know what? I think I'm going to put a bit of brown and black. I need to re-find my my cow's horns. This is brown and burnt sienna. No, brown is burnt sienna. Burnt sienna and black and burnt sienna. I spend most of my career saying the words burnt sienna and ultramarine, you see. Because that's a lovely mix. Right, so we've got cow's horns. And you know what? Let me just put in some little black cow eyes. Two lovely black eyes. Oh, what a surprise. Let's do his nostrils. He's going to suddenly become a cow now. Look, it's a cow. Right, let's let that dry. That was just black, by the way. Because it's coming up to 12:10. And we're only here till past. But you are able to watch it back as often as you need to. I hope you're enjoying the session though, Pat. Even if your painting isn't necessarily doing what your head wants it to. Acrylics are a good one to start learning in because you can use them in many different ways. But equally, if you've come in from a watercolour background, it can be a bit tricky because they're totally different. Right. I need to make a bit of pink. Pat, acrylics are difficult. What do you normally work in? watercolours or something, because it's a world of difference, isn't it? And also, you know, you need to give yourself a bit of extra credit, because we're doing this in an hour and a half from start to finish. No sane person would do that. You know, you'd probably start a bit and go off, make a cup of tea, or head down to the garden, head into town, or put curry on, and then come back, do a bit more. So it's not as highly concentrated in real life. So we're being, you know, slightly different here. So whatever you achieve in an hour and a half is going to be amazing, because for the fact that you've done it in an hour and a half while watching some bloke from Dudley living in Oxfordshire wittering online with a brush in his hand. You know? So give yourself some credit. Right, let's make a flesh tone. And I don't like rushing you, however, I have to because I'm confined by time constraints. Right, so a bit of brown, a bit of cadmium red, and a lot of white, and a pinhead of yellow will give me a nice cow skin colour. Get a bit more yellow. Still using my thin brush. Right, so I'm going to go round his eyes. His lovely little nose. His bottom lip. Now, I'm also aware that that little cow, you can't see anything. But sometimes we need to make it out. And then we can do more with it once we've got it. If I add a titchy bit of burnt sienna to that, I can kind of add a few little extra shaded areas on the noses. Before we cover it all back up again with the fur. So don't forget, it's an hour and a half session. Be kind to yourself. We don't want that inner critic to start switching in and telling us all that we're no good, because we are. We're amazing. Okay, I'm just going to get the hairdryer in this for a little minute. It'll be a bit noisy. But yeah, I because we teach watercolours as well, I know how different watercolour is to acrylics. So it's a worlds apart, isn't it? Worlds apart. Right, I'm just going to bring my palette over here. I'm going to cover a cow up for a second because I'm going to need to make my ginger colour from my orange, an orange colour from the red and the yellow. I will put a tiny bit of burnt sienna in there to match it. And don't forget the red and the yellow are orange based, so you'll get a brighter orange. But we'll go with a little bit of white in there as well. And this we need it to be nice and runny, so that's the red and the yellow. Slightly more yellow than red, a tiny bit of white and a little bit of burnt sienna. And this is where we end up having to paint a lot of fur. We'll do his ears first. Now the more water you add, the more transparent it will get. But we'll build it up in layers so it doesn't feel as bad. And the beauty of acrylics is that you can always come back and do more. It's not lost. We'll do some lighter tones with a bit more yellow and a bit more white in a second, and hopefully that will give us extra depth that we need. So he's quite orange, and that's okay. My brush is probably a bit too chunky, to be honest with you. So we'll get the orange in. Then the highlights. But you can also put some, I'm going to have to switch to a thinner brush in a second. Oh, look at that, I've got paint all over that now. I do know what I'm doing really. I'm going to switch to a thinner rigger brush or something. Let's get a thinner brush so I can go in a nice rigger. Upside down is really good. It's the best way to check if something's working for you. There it is. There's my brush that I was after. I could put some burnt sienna back in to do some slightly darker lines. And then I'll be doing some lighter ones. It is coming up to 20 past, so it is a bit of a time issue. I'm sure she wouldn't be. So this may not have a huge amount of finesse for the time. But we're not going to be cross with ourselves, are we? We're going to be proud that we've done an hour and a half of painting. For ourselves, we've made some time for ourselves out of a busy life. And we've had some nice company and we've learned some new things. So let me go in with more yellow and a lot of white. Very runny indeed. And then we can get more sparing with this lighter tone. Lots of water. The white does help make it opaque. And you can see really there's a lot of light on that cow's back. Covered over his eye too much over that one. I'll give you a couple of minutes extra though to make up for the fact that I had to go out so much. Good for me, but not as good for you, is it, if I'm missing? But I like to give you your money's worth. Oh, it's a pleasure. That's what we're here for, Sandra. To make him a little bit shaggier, but then I am going to have to kind of move on because of time, and I might get customers in the process, so it's going to be a bit tricky the next 5 minutes. A little bit of white with my pink. Just a few more highlights on his nose. Do a few more darker lines in here with the burnt sienna. That's better. It's all about contrast, you see. Maybe something like that. Let me zoom out so you can see the bigger picture. Like that. And you can see I do need to put some more darks back in. Maybe add a little bit of black with my burnt sienna. Oh, lovely. Thank you, Sarah. Oh, I just saw your comment, Rosemary, as I zoomed out, so that's good. We're on the same page. Right, so foreground wise, because I'm going to have to crack... Oh, I need to do his horns. A little bit of white and water. Just over the top of that. My brush is split because I've done something to it just now. A little bit annoying. There's a little bit of yellow in this, but that won't hurt. Going with a little bit more darks. Right, something like that. Now, if I quickly get the fan brush out for the foreground, so I'm going to use an old fan brush here. Go into the white, really load it up, and bounce. I've got a customer. Right, I'll be back in a sec. Could have done with having just a couple more minutes. Right, be back in a second. Give you time to catch up anyway. back for the final throws. You want to leave some of that dark with this, and you want more paint on your brush than you think you should have, and the whole brush is there and we're bouncing. Leave some of the dark show through. If it's not working for you, use way more paint on your brush. Really load it up. And that gives a good base for you then to use a rigger and do some longer, more purposeful lines. And you can do this in a light green, in a green or a white, and it all helps. I'm gonna have to go back down again now. I would prefer it if they came around the times when I'm not doing something really important. Right, we're back in a minute. I'm back, hopefully for the last time. Exhausted. Right, let's do a few longer, darker green, black kind of grass. Break that up a little bit. That'll do, I think. It's best we can do in the time that we've got, isn't it? But if you do take more time, hi Joe, then, you know, in an hour and a half, we have done quite well. When it's totally dry, you can always use a gel pen, a white gel pen, to do anything else. I might fiddle about this just after I've gone live, just so I can finish it off. The next free demo we've got is on the 7th of May, 11 o'clock, live online. And it's a view of Mount Fuji with Blossom, but we're using wax crayon and watercolour for that. And the next free full-length paint-along class is on Saturday the 25th of June, and it's a little camper van surrounded by mountains in Ireland, and that's in watercolour. So that's Saturday the 25th of June. 8 to 11 o'clock is the full-length class, free, and our next free demo is the 7th of May. And we've got all of our normal regular classes all on and around it, so I'll fiddle with it a bit later on. So thanks ever so much for your company. Thanks for sticking with me even though I've had to nip and serve. If you do if you do finish it and you want to share it, please do share it on our Facebook page, because I'd love to see what you've all come up with and how you've interpreted the lesson. So thanks ever so much, everyone. Stay safe, enjoy your weekend. Happy St George's Day. Take care. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.